Hello. I hope you're all doing well. If not, I hope at least your night improves. It's like it's like my headphone cable and I are gonna be fighting tonight, I guess. It's already being a butt. Okay, so um tonight still going to be using regular tarot cards and an oracle deck as well. But alongside that, also gonna give this a try and see what sort of messages it delivers. It's quite a thick book. Lots of messages. I just got it earlier today. I tried it a bit myself with my own reading today. I did get some very interesting and probably much needed messages today, so curious what else it has to say though. For instance, also not too sure it's going to show up too well on camera, but these pages are also like a very light purple. Purple's a very hard color to represent accurately on camera, so we'll see how that looks. But for instance, this is one of the ones that I got myself earlier. It says, close your eyes and see the 18-year-old version of yourself sitting in front of you. Tell them what they need to know. It was definitely a very useful message because it also helps me kind of realize just how far I've gotten. Another one that I got. I got a total of 3. Tried it out myself. This was the second one that I got. Stop trying to convince others of your worth. If they don't see it, they don't deserve it. Which is also something that I most certainly needed to hear. It's most certainly something that I've been struggling with. So. And then the last one that I got earlier was this one. Your guardians want you to know that you are loved and you are protected. Close your eyes and feel their presence. Which was a nice message to hear. Nice little message from my guides. So is everything good right now? Because it kind of looks like my internet is taking a shit right now. Is everything good? I'm not asking about audio. Yeah, my internet is just taking a massive shit right now. Come on, behave. Of course he wouldn't, nothing is moving. Audio might sound a little choppy though. Okay, are we stable now? I think we're stable. Don't know what the fuck just happened there. Just dropped so many fucking frames. Now that that's out of the way. Hopefully it doesn't crap out on me again later. Anyway, let's see what messages we need to hear today. Gonna start off with some collectives first. What message do we need to hear today? We're gonna try that again because it just spit out entirely way too many cards at me. So, no. course, one of the cards had to fall onto the floor. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Okay. Still got a few cards here. Got 5 of them total, but I think last time it popped out like 10, so it's an improvement, so I'll take it. So we got the Queen of Coins, the 5 of Coins first, the Page of Wands, the 9 of Cups, and the Star. So essentially what I'm getting out of this is that things are going to start improving, and that things will start improving. You can essentially find this stability that you're looking for. Perhaps if you've been having money troubles lately, this is a sign that finances might improve, particularly with the Queen of Coins and the 5 of Coins reversed being here, because this also points towards improvements. Doesn't necessarily have to be of the financial kind, but with the Page of Wands here, it's also reminding you to essentially be a little bit more carefree. Essentially, to let go and stop worrying about things. And with the Star being there as well, it's also, again, pointing towards recovery and also asking you to just hold on to hope. Just remain hopeful. And with the 9 of Cups here, this is essentially a clear sign. If these two here already weren't enough, this here, the 9 of Cups, is a clear sign that things will improve. You can reach this level of happiness and stability again. Let's see what the Oracle deck has to say. Shoot. I think I forgot to update my deck command. Would you use the deck command for me really quick, Lan? Having a little trouble there? You wanna use it again? I just updated it, so it should have the correct ones listed now. Anyway, let's see what the Oracle deck has to say. What further insight do you have? The Oracle card is New Moon in Libra. A new romantic cycle begins. New Moon in Libra says, give and take could well be the answer to whatever dilemma you're asking about. Compromise may be called for. It's time to start negotiating, or even renegotiating. When the new moon in Libra comes up, there's a restart for you and for someone else. A new relationship could be beginning, and if that's the case, the chances are this will be a healthy and well-balanced connection. In anything you do after pulling this card, doing it in pairs is advised, such as teaming up with someone in business or in your personal life. Libra is the sign of relating, and this card suggests that whoever it is at the heart of the issue you're addressing is someone who will be open to talking things through. Avoid being selfish. It won't get you anywhere this time. Hello. Thanks for stopping by again. I hope you're doing well. So I think actually the important part of this one, or rather the most important part of this one actually, is the little section at the bottom of the page that kind of explains this specific phase and sign. Libra is the sign of love and harmony, negotiation and relationships. It is harmonious, kind and luxurious, and always aiming for balance. So when we have the new moon in Libra, or at any time you draw this card, there's a restart possible for anything and everything connected to partnerships, negotiations, appearances, and justice. Remember that Libra is depicted by a set of scales. This energy wants to bring things back to equilibrium, which goes very in theme with the rest of the reading here, about beginning to find stability again, and also finding that happiness and connection again. That's good. I'm doing pretty well. Started off not so great, but improved throughout the day, so. Okay. Now let's give the book a try. What does the book have to add to this? By the way, for those just popping in, we're trying out a book today. It's called Instant Magic Oracle. It's not a deck, it's a book. Essentially, it works by well, you can either open it to a random page or just flip through the pages and stop when you feel like it. So, we're going to be giving this a try. On top of the other oracle readings to see what it might have to add. Okay, so what further insight do you have for this reading? Interesting. I opened it to that page earlier. Own your power. Well, if I didn't think this reading included myself before, I certainly do now. I opened it again just to see what it might have to say. Again. The Oracle wishes to deliver you romance. It includes a little ritual you could do if you're into that sort of thing. It says, this spell works for both those who are in relationships and those who are single. You will need 2 items that belong together, such as a salt and pepper shaker, chopsticks, a knife and fork, etc. Pink ribbon or twine. Stand your chosen objects about 30 centimeters or 12 inches apart, and tie the pink ribbon or piece of pink twine around them. Over the course of 5 days, move them a little closer together every day, tightening the ribbon each time until they are eventually touching. Leave them tied like this for 7 days. By this time, romance should have entered your life. So, there you go. If anyone else identified with this particular reading, and either you want to reconnect with someone, or you wish to invite romance into your life, there's a little spell you could do. Okay. I think we're gonna do one more collective, and then I'll open up Q. Okay. What message to those watching need to hear today? The 10 Cups Page of Wands, Empress reversed, Three of Swords, and the Three of Wands. I got into tarot uh, only about 6 months ago. Though it was something I realized probably about a month ago. Goes back a lot further than that. I'll explain that one in a bit. But tarot was something that I decided to get into. Mostly because of someone else that I watch here on Twitch. She's I discovered her through her partner, who I watch as well. After he ended his stream, she was about to go live right after him, so we raided her stream while she was offline. I decided to stick around because it was something I was curious about. Because it's something I, heard about, but had never really, gotten too much into other than, media depictions, which aren't realistic for the most part. And I decided to stick around after that. And eventually I worked up the courage to actually join her queue and get a reading from her. And it was something that was really scarily accurate. And that kind of piqued my curiosity. And probably about a year after that, and after a few more readings, I decided that I kind of wanted to try it and see if I could get anything out of it myself. Because I figured that perhaps it might be something more meaningful and I might get something more powerful out of it if I actually started doing it for myself. And it was. It was something that I picked up on very quickly. And something that I connected to very quickly. And it wasn't until about a month ago that I realized why. That was because of a game that I played in my childhood. It brought up this memory randomly one day. And I remembered this game that I played in my childhood. I grew up playing. That's called Loteria, or Mexican Bingo. And it turns out that that game is heavily inspired by tarot and uses a lot of the same symbolism, particularly from the major arcana cards within tarot decks. It includes direct references to those, in fact, like most of those. So, tarot was something that I connected to at a very young age without really even realizing it. And it's only recently that I've actually been able to really explore that and connect to it further. My personal approach to tarot is, like I've mentioned, like in my About Me section, is one of self-reflection. I feel like tarot is something that can be used to kind of essentially reflect within yourself. You can think of it as a mirror. It'll help bring things to your attention that you may not have really realized, or that you may have just kind of been ignoring because you don't want to deal with it. I feel like it can be used to help gain insight into your current state of mind and your ways of thinking. Because each time you look at a card, you might interpret it a little bit differently based on, essentially, what you're feeling in that moment. And it wasn't until much later that I even learned that that was actually a legitimate way that tarot's been used in psychology. It was something that Carl Jung popularized, something that he looked into himself. And he's like one of the grandfathers of psychology as we know it today. So, I do readings for myself and my partner. Um, I live on my own, so it's not really something that my family is aware of yet. The only family I really have, though, is my sister, and I don't think she's going to think of me any differently for it. I just haven't really had a chance to visit her and actually talk about it. So, which is the only reason that she doesn't know. It's not that I'm like afraid or anything. I know she'll be supportive. Um, and my friends do know, yes, and they're supportive of it, even if, yeah, um, neither of my parents are around. Yeah, my friends are supportive, and um, doing tarot was something, or rather, streaming was something that doing tarot actually led me to do. Um, it was something that my guides in particular um, essentially led me to do because there was something here for me to learn, I feel like. And also some way that I could potentially help others. And that's really the reason I'm here. So, mostly just here to learn. And if I can help someone along the way, that's great. Hello, I'm sorry the queue isn't open yet, but it'll be open shortly if you wish to stick around for a little bit. I'm just finishing up a collective reading here, and then I'll be opening the queue. But either way, thank you for stopping by. And um, to further answer your question, as far as what others outside of like my friend group and my family think about what I do, I don't really care. If someone has an issue with that, that's on them, not me. If that's something that they don't want to accept, that's fine. Well, thank you. But yeah. So essentially, if my approach to really like most things is really the belief that even if it's not something that I'm into, because I don't understand it, um, it's not something I have to understand. The only thing I have to do is accept it. If it's something else that someone else believes or enjoys, whatever, as long as it's not harmful in any way, that's fine. I have no problem with that. So, if anyone else also doesn't, necessarily believe in the things that I do, like this, that's fine. As long as you're not an asshole about it, I'm not gonna have an issue. Yeah. So the collective reading here, essentially, um, what I'm getting out of this one is that you've likely been dealing with a lot of negative emotions and anxiety, and probably just generally perhaps not feeling like accepted or desirable, and you've been taking that a bit too much to heart and letting it affect you and letting it hurt you. And with the rest of the cards here, what I'm getting is that it's essentially, it's time to move on and heal from this. With the Ten of Cups being here, um, it's telling you that you can find that harmony and that happiness and fulfillment again, that emotional fulfillment. And again, once again, we got this in the last reading too. The Page of Wands here is here to remind you to be a little more carefree. And to let go a little. To let loose and have fun, essentially. Okay, let's see what the Oracle deck has to say. What further insight do you have? Well, so the Oracle card here is New Moon in Scorpio. Work through your fears. New Moon in Scorpio says, oh yeah, also, I'm sorry, I forgot to say hello, Beasto. Okay, New Moon in Scorpio says, this card suggests a rebirth. Think of your situation as the phoenix that's rising from the ashes, as the birth, death, rebirth paradigm. That's what Scorpio energy is all about. Whatever you've been through, there's a new start ahead. It might be a little dark. It almost certainly won't be rainbows and unicorns. But it will be deep and transforming. This card also suggests that if you know you were magical, then this is the time to work your magic. It can also herald the start of a sexier time, if you've been experiencing something of a drought. And emotional intimacy is also on the menu. Scorpio is the sign that likes to go deep into body, mind, and spirit. So when this card comes up, there's nothing superficial about what's coming your way. I'm sorry, I just have to point this out because it's just kind of funny. So in this booklet, along with every card, there's also a little thing that says attuned to the moon. It's essentially a little action or a little affirmation that you can repeat to yourself to kind of help you feel the energy of this card. So I'm just going to point out what this one says. So if anyone needed to hear that, time to have some sexy time, I guess. Okay, well, let's see what the book has to say here. Again, if you're just stopping by or you just got here, we're using this book here, the Instant Magic Oracle, on top of the other Oracle message to see what we get out of it. See if it has any further messaging that it wants to share. It's quite thick. There's a lot in here. No worries. Welcome back. Just finishing up the collective reading here, and I will be opening Q, yes. Okay. So let's see. What further insight do you have? Healing is happening. And because I gave the earlier collective 2, close your eyes and see your future self celebrating your intentions coming to fruition. Work back and see how you got there. Now you know what you've got to do. Okay. So, if anyone needed to hear that message, I hope it helps you in some way. Clear this up here. And go ahead and open queue here. Okay, queue's open. Okay. Sorry, 1 second. Need to stretch up my legs. They're starting to cramp up a little bit. Already? Okay. Okay. Are you ready, Lan? Okay. What message does Lan need to hear today? Knight of Cups, Page of Swords reversed, and the Five of Cups reversed. So, essentially what I'm getting out of this is essentially that you need to keep moving forward and moving on from this grief that you're feeling. And for for some reason, what I'm getting out of the Page of Swords reversed right now is not to overthink things. Yeah. And also be honest with yourself. The reason I say overthink things, the moment I first saw the sword here, if you're not aware, this suit of swords is essentially a suit of the mind, of intellect. So. And again, because I know you very well, because, you know, you're my partner, so. Okay, let's see what the Oracle deck has to say. Sorry if that was loud. It knock really fucking hard on this deck because it's been like very unresponsive lately. It takes a lot of effort to get any fucking card out of it. So. Any errant negative energy, get the fuck out of here. That's better. That's interesting. So you got first quarter moon. Commitment is being tested. And mutable moon. Nothing is yet set in stone. With that being present, particularly with this one being present, I think I know what this applies to now. So I think this is telling you this is what you'll find out of that. So, first quarter moon, your commitment is being tested. There could be some challenges coming your way, but they're just the universe's way of testing you. The first quarter moon calls for you to face any hurdles with confidence. What do you actually think is possible? If you believe you can do it, then you probably can. If you spend your life affirming that something is too big for you to surmount, It probably is. See how that works? Do you believe your dreams will come true, or have you secretly already given up? Showing some commitment now will help you move towards your desired outcome. What you believe to be true is true for you. So believe in yourself. Again, going in line with the whole interpretation of that being, don't overthink things. And mutable moon says, mutable is all about change. Shape-shifting even. That something is still developing. This card indicates that something is indeed changing, and there's room for maneuver. So take it as a sign that the situation you're asking about is far from finalized. If you're not happy with the current state of play, that's marvelous. It means you can still change the course of the outcome. However, there is also a sense that the situation could perhaps be a little unstable. For some, this is great news, because you can still influence it. Others will struggle with the uncertainty, but should stay with it a little longer. Either way, nothing is set in stone yet. Particularly, there's another little thing here that says, you're meandering towards your goal, and that's okay. Which I think is the most important part for you currently. Because I know you're just beginning your own journey with tarot. So, and I know you're still in the process of actually gathering the initial interpretations that you get from your own deck. So, I again think that this is affirming that this is a journey that you are indeed going to find fulfillment with, and that this will help you address these things here with stopping, the overthinking and moving forward and letting go of your grief. So I think that this is indeed affirming that this is a good path for you to take. And a reminder that it's something you need to continue, but the pace you're going at is fine. So obviously it's not something that you want to rush into, so. And then let's see what the book has to say. What further insight do you have? Hey. Treat yourself. Okay. Well, I hope that message helps. I know that one from the book is probably something that you needed to hear, because that's always something you struggle with. Rewarding yourself. Now go do something for yourself. Okay. Let's move on to the next person here. Okay. Beasto, you're up. Okay. What message does Beasto need to hear? A universe guidance reading? I'm not exactly certain what that is. I usually do that by just asking what I need to hear the most. Okay. That's what I figured, but okay. What message does Beasto need to hear today? Well, I hope you find one you really like. Uh-oh. So you got the Four of Swords, the Two of Swords reversed, the King of Wands, and the Eight of Swords, and the Tower reversed. So yeah, that's the particularly the swords combo in the tower is what made me just say, uh-oh. um, but it's it's a good thing though. I say, uh-oh, because that means you've been struggling. So essentially, I think I think you had a few of these actually come up in the reading that I gave you last week. I know this one in particular did. Um, this one, though, is also why I say it's positive. Um, because this one is essentially signaling a pause in the battle. The Eight of Swords here also signaling that um, the battle is also almost over. Not the interpretation of the Eight of Swords itself, but rather the number. Because tens are always the end of a cycle. So with this being the 8, that's also signaling that it's also close to an end. So you're getting closer to the end, essentially. But essentially with, again, the Eight of Swords in particular, you're getting closer to the end of the battle in battling with yourself. So but with the Four of Swords here, again, signaling a pause in the battle is coming up. That one in particular, I know you got in your week ahead reading that you asked for last week. That one most certainly came up. I do remember that. Yeah. Um. So essentially, the Four of Swords signaling a pause in the battle. The Two of Swords reversed, pointing towards a need for rebalancing. And with the King of Wands here, again, lending itself further to that like positivity. Eventually telling you to just really follow your passions, which I know is a common theme. It seems to be. in your readings that I've given you anyway. So, essentially leading you towards, essentially keep following your passions. And the Eight of Swords essentially pointing towards the constant struggle with yourself. And, that sense of anxiety, all those negative feelings that arise out of that constant battle with yourself and overthinking things a little bit too much. It's a struggle I know very well. Essentially, what I'm getting out of that is that that'll lead you to getting out of this. The tower moment that you experienced in the past. This is your way out of that. Just keep following your passions. Do your best to stop this battle with yourself. Which I know is a lot easier said than done. The key part, though, being just keep following your passions. So, let's see what the Oracle deck has to say. What further insight do you have? Yeah. Yeah, I know that feeling. Itself further to positivity. Gibbous Moon. You're very close to achieving your goal. Okay. Gibbous Moon says, the word gibbous means bulging. What a descriptive word, right? And pulling this card at any time of the month suggests that the situation you're asking about is bulging with possibility and coming to a peak. But this isn't an ending card with a neat yes or no. Rather, you're being reminded that some adjustments may yet be required before you get what you want, though you're certainly on the right track, which hopefully is reassuring for you. However, there is also a sense that the situation is a bit tense, so don't push too hard. One false move and the whole thing could blow. That's not meant to scare you, it's just to let you know there's a fuse attached to this situation, so be careful if you choose to light it. Which, yeah, with the Two of Swords and stuff pointing towards, like, rebalancing and stuff. Yeah. Also with the tower looming there in the background. As a reminder. That card pretty much very aptly describes the entire situation here. My leg really wants to cramp today. Okay. So essentially, the important part again being, just keep following your passions. Just keep trying your best to focus on that, and then hopefully the rest of that will just, hopefully the rest of, like, these negative feelings and things will just kind of fall away. And you'll actually be able to escape the, lingering of the tower moment. And I also have the book here. Let's see what this has to say. What further insight do you have? If it doesn't feel aligned, then the answer is no. So again, I feel like that in particular goes with the whole following your passions thing. I essentially just kind of run my finger along the pages and then just let it fall open. If you're interested in it, it's called Instant Magic Oracle. You can get it from Barnes and Noble. It's only like $15, so it's even cheaper than most Oracle decks, really. Like the cheapest Oracle decks that I've seen, like, are usually around like the price of this one, which is about like 20. I've seen a few that are like a little cheaper. Like the cheapest one I think I've actually seen is probably around like 16. But yeah. It's just a little book. It's, well, little. Not really. It's very thick. There are like plenty of messages in here. There's probably about, based on the number of pages here, there's probably about like close to not 400, 500. There's probably close to about 500. Like, there are a few pages in the very beginning and the very end that, like, kind of explain. Yeah, I know that feeling. You can order it online, though. That's how I got mine, because I don't have a Barnes & Noble locally. Otherwise, I would have that same problem. Yeah. Hello. Thanks for stopping by. But yeah, I know that feeling. If there was one locally to me, I would have that same problem. I already have that same problem, and I order all of my stuff online from them. Like, you don't even want to know. You don't even want to know how many things are on my wish list to buy eventually. Most of them currently being tarot decks and such, but they're like just tarot decks alone, man. There are so many tarot decks that I'd like to get. There are so many pretty decks. There's so many cool oracle decks too that sound really interesting. And I know, like, each tarot deck is a little bit different. Even though, like, obviously they use, like, the same basic, like, symbolism, like, universal symbolism and stuff. And they have all the same, like, traditional meanings, but each deck can kind of feel a little bit different. Depending on, the person who created it. It's okay, I do that a lot too. This book was one of those failures. Cult of the Lamb is so cute. It's still a game I need to buy. Fuck. But yeah. Anyway. Yeah, if you're interested in that book, it is available for ordering online. Um, like I said, it's only like $15, so. I just got it earlier today. It's already had quite a few interesting messages, so it's very nice. But also, like, if you're into that sort of thing, it also includes, like, rituals or, like, spells and stuff that you can do as well. So, there's one that actually came up earlier. But anyway, I hope that message helped you in some way. And I know how much of a struggle it can be to stop overthinking things so much and let go of, anxiety and just all those associated negative feelings that come along with it. So I wish you the best of luck on that. I know that that's quite hard to do. Certainly something that's easier said than done. Okay. Lizzie, you're up next. I hope that's how you pronounce that. Okay, good. Also, best of uh best of luck with that, Beasto. I hope your stream goes well. Okay. What message does Lizzie need to hear today? What are you gonna be playing? Okay. We got Temperance, the Empress, the Nine of Swords reversed, and Ten of Wands. So, um, I get the sense that there's something that perhaps needs rebalancing and perhaps a little patience with the Temperance card here. But this is also this is also pointing towards improvement though, particularly with the Empress being right next to it. So essentially what I'm getting out of this is with the Nine of Swords reversed here, I'm also gathering that perhaps you two have been struggling a little bit with yourself. And perhaps we're dealing with some feelings of anxiety and self-doubt. But with it being reversed as well, that's also pointing towards improvement. And then with the Ten of Wands here, particularly what I'm getting out of that one. The story of the image that's attached to this card comes to mind with this. With that one, the feeling I'm getting from that is perhaps you've been dealing with a lot of stress lately and you've been feeling very overwhelmed by whatever the situation in question is. Maybe probably caused by these negative feelings from this card here. The thing that comes to mind with that story is that it's always okay to ask for help. If you have been feeling like it's something that you've been struggling with alone, I feel like this is a sign that maybe you should reach out to a friend or someone you trust. And just confide in them, maybe, about the things that you've been struggling with. If anything, it's a reminder that it's not something that you have to struggle through alone. Yeah, I know that feeling very well. I'm sorry. I hope things start improving for you soon. I know that that can be a lot to deal with. These this is pointing towards improvement. Another thing in particular that I'm getting out of the Emperor's card here too is it's also a reminder to care for and nurture yourself. I know some days that can be quite hard. But even just little steps are steps. improvement doesn't have to start on a large scale right away. Taking tiny steps and you'll get there eventually. Okay. Let's see what the oracle cards have to say. What further insight do you have? So, you got two cards here. The first one is New Moon in Scorpio. Work through your fears. The second one is Full Moon in Gemini. The answers you need are coming. So, let's see what New Moon in Scorpio has to say first. New Moon in Scorpio says, this card suggests a rebirth. Think of your situation as the phoenix that's rising from the ashes, as the birth, death, rebirth paradigm. That's what Scorpio energy is all about. Whatever you've been through, there's a new start ahead. It might be a little dark. It almost certainly won't be rainbows and unicorns, but it will be deep and transforming. This card also suggests that if you know you were magical, then this is the time to work your magic. It can also herald the start of a sexier time, if you've been experiencing something of a drought. And emotional intimacy is also on the menu. Scorpio is the sign that likes to go deep into body, mind, and spirit. So when this card comes up, there's nothing superficial about what's coming your way. So, the important thing that I get out of that one is that, like it says, there's a new start ahead. And while this period might be a little bit dark, that this also will be transforming. And the full moon in Gemini says, this card is a reminder that it's important to speak your truth. But remember that your words have consequences and impact your listener. Right now, you need to guard against indiscretion. The answers you need may well come soon. The issue you're facing could well be one or a few conversations away from being resolved. If you're inquiring about a love situation, a little flirting may be called for. If you're in the middle of an argument, this card comes to you as a reminder of the old, very non-Gemini message: least said, soonest mended. It's good to talk, but be careful you aren't causing yourself any issues with your words. Words have enormous power. As metaphysician Florence Scovel Shinn put it, your word is your wand. You create magic and your own reality every time you express yourself. I think that one goes very well with the Ten of Wands, and also potentially about reaching out to someone. So, if you have someone close to you that you could reach out to and talk to, I feel like communicating your issues with someone that you trust might be helpful. Which I understand. I know that can be kind of hard sometimes, but particularly with those close to us, those closest to us especially, it's never really a good thing to hide what you're feeling from them, especially if they want to help you. It's okay to accept that help. We don't have to do everything on our own. Yeah. But card did also say, choose your words carefully, so if it's something that might potentially be a little bit heavy or hard for her to hear, maybe don't go like fully in depth to it, but perhaps just, let her know that you've been struggling and that you could use a little help. So, if it is something that concerns your safety, I'm sure it is something that she would want to know, though. But, let's see what the book here has to say. Old narratives don't belong in your new life. If there is something from your past, some old pattern, some old way of thinking that you've been holding on to, now might be the time to release that. Of course. Thank you for stopping by. I hope that message could help you in some way. I decided to open it again to see if there was another message it had. The oracle is asking you to connect with the color yellow. In magic, yellow brings abundance and happiness. Work with this color to inspire your creative flow. Clear any blocks that have been in your way, and open the road to magical new opportunities. To connect with this color, you can wear an item of yellow clothing, tie some yellow string around your wrist, light a yellow candle, or buy some yellow flowers. As you work with this color, tune into the uplifting energy of the sun. Feel its warmth and know that you are in harmony with the magic of the color yellow. Repeat the mantra, "Color of yellow, inspire me with happiness, joy and creativity. Color of sunshine, I feel thee, bringing magic for all to see." So, essentially, what I'm getting out of that one particularly is, even if you don't want to do that, if you don't believe in that sort of thing, just bring a little brightness into your life in some way. And maybe also get a little sun. If you can go outside, maybe visit some nice place. Maybe relax in the sun a little bit. Essentially feeling the warmth of the sun might help you feel a little better. But overall, I hope that message could help you in some way. I hope things do improve for you soon. The important thing to remember is that this won't always be forever. There will be an end. Okay. $69, you are up next. I do not currently. It's not something I really have very much experience with. Is there another question that you'd like to ask, though? That one would be quite long. But, I can do, at least the way that I do year ahead readings anyway, they can be quite long. So, I can do like 6 months though. That wouldn't be quite as long. And it would still cover most of the year. Would you prefer that? Okay. So, what will the next 6 months look like for 69? Cards you got here are the Six of Cups, the Hanged Man reverse, Six of Swords, Five of Wands, Four of Swords, and Four of Cups. So, essentially, what this is telling me is that the next 6 months are going to be a time of essentially probably rebalancing emotionally. So, with the Six of Cups is essentially pointing towards reconnecting with something from your childhood. The Six of Cups is essentially a card of nostalgia. So that could be a person or an activity, usually, that you enjoyed doing in the past. Like, if there was ever a hobby or like passion project of yours that you used to do when you were a bit younger, this is something that you should be trying to reconnect with. With the Hanged Man here in reverse, what I'm getting out of that is essentially slowing down a little bit. Um, Essentially slowing down um, these negative emotions that you've been dealing with. And the Six of Swords here pointing towards that being something that you're going to start moving on from. This essentially, this battle, which with the other cards here might be one with yourself. Um, the Four of Swords and the Six of Swords here are again pointing towards this being something that you're moving on from. This being the thing that you're going to be moving on from, essentially. Um, the Four of Swords points towards like a pause in battle, essentially. Um, a state of sanctuary, essentially, where you can begin to move on from these. And with the Four of Cups being here as well, that in particular pointing towards also learning to appreciate what you have. And perhaps pointing towards the need to express gratitude for essentially the positives in your life. Doing so might help you move away from those negative emotions a little bit. And essentially recalibrate, which kind of seems to be the theme here. So let me pull an oracle card as well. And see what that has to say. What further insight do you have? Full moon in Capricorn. The end of a tough cycle approaches. And full moon in Virgo. You are good enough. Full moon in Capricorn says, how hard are you willing to work for what you want? This card is reminding you that effort is required. Work issues may be about to come to a head when this card comes out. If you are wondering if you should stay in your job or leave, this card can be a strong sign to make an exit. The end of a rough time is forecast. This card also asks you to consider how ambitious you are, and whether you are prepared to pull out all the stops to make your professional dreams come true, without being ruthless. With a love question, this card can be a call to face reality. Whatever situation you're asking about, making a plan will help. If your personal life is troubled, prioritize it more. Essentially, the important bit of this, I feel like the important bit of both of these is probably going to be the text that is actually on the cards. So, the end of a tough cycle approaches. Again, which is pretty much exactly what the cards are also saying, so. But it also did mention particularly that effort is required. So it is something that you will have to work towards. But it is possible. And full moon in Virgo says, it's time to be really honest with yourself and understand what's led you to ask your question. Have you been humble to the point of being self-effacing? Humility is good, but it can go too far. And drawing this card suggests that you may be underrating yourself. You don't have to be flash. I think that's supposed to be flashy. Just quietly certain that you are good enough. At the other end of the scale, you also need to honestly answer this question. Have you been too picky? The full moon in Virgo card needs some truthful answers. Once you've given them, it should be easier to see how you got where you are. Your next step should then be more obvious to you. Pay attention to the details. Hard work brings results. So, again, this is also telling you that you need to be a little bit honest with yourself here, and that this is also going to, again, take hard work. But it's also reminding you that if you're struggling, which I think based on the last reading I gave you, this was something that came up. if you're feeling, you know, like feelings of self-doubt or feelings of worthlessness or imposter syndrome, this is also telling you, reminding you that you are good enough. So, hope that message helps. And I know that it can be quite hard to pull yourself out of that. But it is possible. And let's see what the book has to say. Intuition challenge. Scales. What does a set of scales mean to you? And how do you connect with this image? So, what does the set of scales mean to you? What does it say? Yes. And another one for good measure. Oh. With darkness comes light. Connect to your shadow self. Light a candle for it, understand it, and show it compassion. Your shadow self being the part of ourselves that we very rarely ever confront. The darker parts of ourselves. The part that we're afraid to look at. Because we're afraid of what we'll find. Camera, are you good? You see that, right? Uh, Good. Hell? I think I know. Yeah, okay. I know what that was. They don't have a light to flicker, so. And they decided to find another way to get my attention. Alright, fine. Apparently that was a part that I needed to pay attention to myself. Yeah, I get it. Oh my gosh. What the hell is happening? I don't know why the white balance is suddenly going out of whack here, but essentially what that is saying is to connect with your inner self. Um, we often don't confront that part of ourselves because sometimes we're afraid of what we'll find. But acknowledging it and giving it attention can be a good thing. Because it's when we actually confront that part of ourselves that we actually learn about ourselves. About why we feel the ways that we do, why we think the ways that we do, why we react to things the way that we do. And going back to your question earlier this stream, that is why I do tarot. That is what I get out of it. Like I said earlier, it is a mirror. It shows me the parts of myself that I need to give attention to. And through that, I realize the things that I need to be working on. Hmm. Yeah. No. I take it you might be part of the latter. Any explanation for why that happens? No. If you're part of that last group, though, it's something you're not alone in, so I understand that. Unfortunately, all too well. It is unfair, but that's the point of capitalism. The only thing that you can do is do your best to make a difference. Even if that only difference is for yourself. That doesn't mean massive change on a large scale. Not everyone has that ability. Sometimes that just means ourselves and influencing those around us. Well, also, because I feel like it might be something that you also perhaps need to hear. This was one of the messages that I got earlier from the book. Stop trying to convince others of your worth. If they don't see it, they don't deserve it. Trying to please everyone was something that I struggled with a lot growing up. But it never mattered anyway. Because no matter what, my mother never would have cared. Yet I still tried anyway. But that's not healthy. It wasn't until my mid-20s that I actually managed to escape her. And pretty much cut her off. Not too long after that. But anyway, I hope the message helped you in some way. And if there's anyone in your life who is making you doubt your self-worth, they're not worth it. Even if that person happens to be family. Chosen family is a possibility. Just because they're blood related doesn't give them a pass to treat you terribly. With that, I guess if there's anyone who might wish to join the queue. This is the last call. I'll give it a few minutes, and then after that I'll just close out with a collective. Close queue and give a collective reading. Okay. So what message do those watching need to hear? Hello again. I'm doing alright. How are you? Not not at the moment. Oh yeah, I just closed it a few minutes ago. I'm sorry. I am doing a collective currently though. So if you wish to stick around for that. Oh, you're fine. Okay, so we have the Knight of Coins reversed, the Five of Cups, and the Seven of Wands. The 9 of coins reversed, 4 of coins, and the lovers reversed. So essentially what I'm getting out of this is that there's probably some grief hanging around, potentially um, some emotional issues that are hanging around a bit. But what I'm getting at this is that with some work and reprioritization, this is something that you can get through. So let's two in particular. The lovers reversed also, again, pointing towards this is probably an internal struggle, a struggle that you're facing with yourself, probably. And that this is something that you need to work through. And with the 9 of coins here being reversed, essentially what I'm getting from that one is that this prosperity that you're searching for and that you're waiting for is close. But it's going to take some more work to reach that point. I'm going to pull another card or two to see what it has to say about potential solutions. So, essentially, we need to pause and recuperate a little bit. Take some time to recover. So, essentially, just take some time to relax. Maybe go do something that you enjoy. And essentially give yourself a break from all of this negativity. And let's see what the Oracle deck has to say. My stomach just growled really loudly. I'm not sure if the mic picked that up or not. Goodness. Yeah, I guess so. I was planning on getting food after he ended this. Okay, what further insight do you have? Just quietly grumbling at me. Stomach is just being a drama queen over here, man. Sorry. So, we got two of them here. We got Fixed Moon, which says hold your vision. Goodness. And then we got New Moon in Cancer. You and your loved ones are safe. Fixed Moon says There are two main possibilities with this card. The first is that you need to stand firm in whatever situation you're in. The second, very different. The second, very different interpretation is that something is stuck. That could well be referring to the situation you're asking about. If that's the case, have a think about what you can do to grease the wheels so that events move forward. Are you being stubborn? If so, that's great, because if you really want things to change, there's a solution. Stop digging your heels in. Be the one to break a deadlock. With two interpretations for this card, it's up to you to decide what's going on and which meaning applies to you. This offers up a chance for some self-reflection. And New Moon in Cancer says, there's a new start coming in your private life. Something is rising up in connection with the people and places you hold dearest. This can be to do with a member of your family, a flatmate, or moving house. If you're hoping to move forwards with something special in your private life, this card comes to you as a message that you can do it. If you've been neglecting your family, it's time to reconnect with them. If you've been neglecting yourself, you need to take better care of yourself and nurture yourself more. If your insecurity is holding you back, that's something for you to work on now. Doing so could bring you your heart's desire. So essentially, if you haven't been checking in with yourself enough, and you haven't been taking care of yourself as well as you could have been, this is a sign that you essentially need to care for yourself more and nurture yourself. And let's see what the Oracle book has to say here. Own your power. Don't worry about getting everything done this second. Relax. You'll be more productive in the long run. Again, pointing towards the need to rest and recuperate. been overwhelming yourself a little bit too much, working yourself a little bit too hard. This is your sign to take a step back and relax a little. So, whoever needed to hear that, I hope that helps you in some way. And with that, it is unfortunately time for me to call it. My legs already started cramping quite a while ago. And now my stomach is complaining, so. I myself need to go get some food and actually go relax a little, so. But, thank you all for stopping by. Whether you joined queue or just lurked in the background, thank you for sharing your time. I hope I see you all again sometime soon. But bye for now.